Broadcasting from the world-famous LWDL studio, this is Life with Dan and Lewis. I'm Dan.
And I'm Lewis.
And we're here to talk about life and all the wonderful, magical, horrible, awful, fantastic stuff inside that four-letter word.
Life.
Before we get too far in, if you hear anything today you'd like... Oh, wow. Before we get too far in, if you hear anything you like today, feel free to go over to buymeacoffee.com/LWDL. Your support is greatly appreciated for this adventure we are on. Hey, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
How was your week?
My week was finally settling down and becoming not necessarily normal, but at a more steady pace.
Okay.
Since the beginning of the year, we've been trying to... Well, the first 2 weeks of the year was just extremely busy.
Crazy busy.
Crazy. And not normal. I anticipate the first week of the year to be normal, and then going to the second week, just like things would just settle down, but it didn't do that. Second week was busy. Third week was kind of busy, kind of normal. And then the fourth week, ending January, going into February, was a different pace. And it's just like with a different pace and the different way of court structure, it was more rewarding, I shall say, as to I'm seeing a lot of progression made in my court, and a lot of the changes that we're implementing being done and carried out, and it just makes things run more smoothly, and I feel like I'm getting a lot of cases moved, a lot of not necessarily leaving the responsibility on the court. Like, when an attorney is like, hey, yeah, my client has a conditional dismissal. Okay, I put it back on the client. I'm like, all right, I'm giving you 2 weeks to get this case, like your class is set up. And,
right.
If you need a little bit more time, I'll give you another week after that. But like, kind of like, if you tell somebody 30 days to get more relaxed and like they try to do it at the last minute. Right. Like, no, you don't want to come back to court. So, hey, get this done right now.
That makes sense.
And so with that, I'm getting a lot of positive feedback from defense attorneys like, yeah, put the pressure on my client. They need to know what they need to do and stuff like that. And court staff, my ADAs are telling me like, hey, that's pretty good. I'm glad you're doing that. So that's cool. That's a good thing. And so what about you? How was your week?
Yeah, it was good. Really nothing too crazy. Work was a little quieter this week. Not slow, but quiet. Mm-hmm. So that was good. Yeah, I think everything was good. You didn't really do a whole lot. There's 2 days there that we had pretty bad ice and weather and whatnot, so that kind of put a damper on everything. So
no bowling this week.
No, yeah, bowling was canceled. Didn't get out to golf any. Just sort of hung around the house a lot. Yeah, I really don't have any other updates. It just kind of felt like the week flew by. Yeah, but like not like a lot to like report on.
2 weeks 2 days out of this week. Yeah. Working from home, and it was definitely beneficial. I kind of liked it a little bit, and sure. It definitely kind of piqued my horizon there a little bit.
For you it was different. For me it was no different.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody who normally work from home or from an office space or basically from home, it was they're right in their own element. Like for me, being in person most of the time, and then being at home, it was definitely different. I didn't dread it because when I'm in person, I have 3 screens to work off of. Right. Being at home, I have 1, but I kind of alleviated a little bit of that dread, if you will, by using my iPad. Okay. And so I use my iPad as my Zoom screen, and then my laptop as my multifunctional. Well, went back and forth between different.
You could have used your TV too.
I could have, but I just didn't have the perfect setup to. Because
you would have had to sit on your couch.
Yeah. And then I have to have the laptop in my lap and like have the perfect height where like I'm not looking.
Or to rearrange your whole apartment.
Yeah, exactly. So, but with my iPad as one screen and My laptop is another. It worked out perfectly.
Good.
I had a great experience, and it was very stress free, and I just went into it. And I'm like, you know what? I just got to get it done and just go with it.
Right. Nothing you could do was going to change it, so you just had to figure it out.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about, like, last season we were talking about eliminating dread. It's like I didn't dread the situation. I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna use the resources that I have and just go with it.
Right.
And it worked out perfectly.
Cool.
No stress or anything.
Yeah, it was kind of weird for me because, the official memo came out, the county's closed, treat today like a vacation day. And I was kind of like, I have work to do. I could do it.
Yeah, like, what is a vacation day?
I ended up working just because it was like, it felt weird to shut it down when like I wasn't affected by the situation.
Yeah.
But like my boss's boss was like, treat today like a vacation day.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, might as well just get some work. Because the work's not going to go anywhere. Like, I got to do it still. So why waste today? I might have taken it a little bit easier just because there was less people at work.
Exactly.
In general. So it was slower and quieter.
Yeah.
So I probably took it a little bit easy, but it certainly wasn't like a vacation day like some people got. Same for you. You had court still. So
yeah.
What's in your cup?
Well, tonight we are drinking a variety of different vodkas.
That's right.
What was Tito's, Grey Goose,
Tito's, Grey Goose, Chopin, and Kettle One.
Yes.
So we're not mixing those all together, making some kind of weird concoction. What we did is we bought all those bottles because we've had them individually, and then when one runs out, we'll go buy something else, and it'll usually be one of those four, and we think we like them all. So we just sort of buy whatever is on sale, whatever looks good, whatever sounds good, whatever.
Yeah.
But when I was buying this time, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna, instead of buying the value size that lasts us a while, I said, I'm gonna buy the smaller bottles. I'm gonna buy one of each that I know we've had and think we like, and we can compare them.
Exactly.
And see what we actually like.
Yeah.
So without even really knowing what they're made from, I didn't do a whole lot of research on this. I just picked brands that I know we like. So Chopin is a potato vodka.
Correct.
Kettle One and Grey Goose are wheat vodkas.
Correct.
And Tito's is a corn vodka.
Correct.
And when we tasted them, you could definitely tell which two were wheat.
Definitely.
And those were our least favorite.
Yes. The straight kick in the back of the throat. Well,
they were flat and bitter. That's the best way I can describe how they tasted.
True.
Not great. Granted, vodkas aren't great just sipping, alcohol. It's not a spirit that I'm going to go to just over rocks, So it was a little bit of a rough taste test anyways.
Yeah.
But there was definitely a difference between Tito, Kettle One, and Grey Goose, the two wheat ones, and the one potato one we had.
Yes.
Chopin.
I would totally agree. The two wheat ones seems to hit your palate at the tip of your tongue and then go straight back and kick you in the back of the throat.
Yeah.
Tito's and what was the last one?
Chopin.
Mm-hmm. Were more, it covers your whole palate and then it's just smooth.
Yeah, especially Tito's, the corn vodka.
Yes.
It was smooth. That's the best way to describe it.
It's correct.
Still not enjoyable by itself, but not unpleasant like the wheat ones were.
Correct. Like if we went to a place and we're just like, hey, we just have nothing but vodka, it's something that, we could sip over rocks if it was our only choice.
Sure.
So our next thing is to get different price ranges of vodkas that are corn based, wheat based, potato based. There's also grape and corn based, and any other ones.
Grape and rice.
Grape and rice. And then just
there's also allegedly a milk based one that
we both were going to do some research on that one.
Yeah. But that's what I think what we'll do is sort of expand our bracket out.
Correct.
And just try some other tiers. Probably with a lesser emphasis on wheat, just because we don't like that one.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll do one more expensive wheat.
Yeah.
And then more styration in the other categories.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Though. Yeah, this will probably be an ongoing thing for a few months, I'd imagine, until we get sick of vodka.
Right.
Or my liquor cabinet's too full. One or the other.
Maybe we'll do a a month segment on different vodkas that we have tried, and reach out to our fans to see what they think about it as well.
If you have any suggestions, feel free to drop us a line. You know where to do that. That's at lifewithdanandlewis@gmail.com.
That's right, lifewithdanandlewis@gmail.com.
Yeah, we also got to try the new Starry soda. This is Pepsi's replacement for Sierra Mist. We were able to find that in the zero variety.
Correct.
So first of all, side note, soda is so expensive.
It is.
When did a 12-pack become $7? Wow.
Almost overnight. Well,
right.
You know what?
I feel like the sale price used to be like three for 12.
Correct.
And it's still like, man, $12 for 3-pack. Well, wow.
Yeah.
And now it's 3 for 20 or something. It was some like stupid sale. 3 for 18, I think is what the sale was.
Yes. Yeah. It definitely has gone up.
Man.
When you don't buy soda that often,
right.
It doesn't, it doesn't matter, or you don't pay attention to the price. But
exactly.
then, like, when you do go and you want to get a 12-pack, and you're just like, wow, $7,
right.
almost in between $7 and $8. It's like, wow, that's crazy.
So Pepsi had that sale. It was like 3 for 18.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't have anything. Like all I drink is zero and diet.
Yeah.
I don't like Diet Pepsi. So I wasn't going to buy that. And so I was like, okay, I'll just buy a zero Mountain Dew. Didn't have it. My only zero option was Starry. I could get Diet Mountain Dew. And I could get a Diet Pepsi, zero Pepsi Cherry. And I was like, well, I'm not going to drink that. So I just ended up buying one.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even, there's still some weird scarcity things going on with soda.
Yeah.
So this wasn't even on the agenda to talk about today, but we'll go ahead and bring it up since we're talking about drinks and whatnot.
Sounds good.
So Sazerac, it's a combination of 9 different distilleries. And it includes Barton out of Kentucky and Buffalo Trace out of Kentucky and Glenmore, and a few others. They also make like Fireball and Sazerac, their original alcohol beverage.
Fireball, one of our go-to favorites for the holiday time.
That's right. So yeah, they have. So Sazerac has been accused of making their products artificially scarce to drive up demand for a while now. And basically what they're accused of is holding back inventory so that there's only a little bit on the shelves, and then people are in a frenzy for it, and it can drive the prices up, and it creates this, hunting for bottles mentality. Well, it turns out that their distributor has been holding inventory and requiring liquor stores to carry other companion SKUs on their shelves. And the companion SKUs were not Sazerac SKUs. So this means that they were basically, if you want to have this really popular item on your shelf, then you need to carry these other items that I'm going to make more money on.
Yeah.
So, and to the detriment of Sazerac. So now Sazerac is suing their distributor for all the unpaid bills. So this could be kind of crazy in the whiskey world. Sazerac is the parent company of bourbon distiller Buffalo Trace, and that is one of the whiskeys that has some artificial scarcity on it. And people have been hoarding bottles because the price goes up and you can sell them on the secondary market. Well, if Sazerac gets a new distributor and all of a sudden the market's flooded with their product, that's going to drive down that secondary market and really going to tick people off.
Of course.
On one end, but other people are going to be very happy because now we're able to get our hands on this, scarce product.
Yeah. It pretty much, it sucks for people who have spent a lot of money on buying them. And then, let's just say you buy it at $50 a bottle, and then, you go to a different distributor, and then now it's $30 a bottle. So you just lost out, $20 on each bottle that you bought. But, shame on them.
So this article actually says that Sazerac has terminated them now.
Good.
I'm reading the article. This literally just came out today. So they're up to $48 million in unpaid invoices.
There is a pending lawsuit, and I hope that they win their lawsuit, and the judge also finds them punitive damages, because this is just ridiculous. If you, as a distributor, if you want to do something like this, well then, make it plain and clear.
Right.
Why are you shortchanging a person who is trying to get their product out there?
Right.
And then, because if it's all based off your contract, and if you have a contract with these people and you're not fulfilling your contract and you're driving up the price just so on the back end you can collect the extra that comes off the top, then shame on you.
Right.
You need to be outed. People need to know about your tactics and everything that you're doing. And I hope that more brands go in there and sue the hell out of them as well.
Right. And on top of the unpaid invoices, it sounds like they are going to be sued for libel too. Multiple owners of liquor stores have said that Republic has been, quote, bad-mouthing Sazerac in the marketplace and had ceased cooperation with Sazerac prior to the termination. So that means that they probably had some kind of a, not only libel or slander going on, but some kind of a breach of fiduciary duty. Yeah. Meaning that you're the one that's supposed to be selling my product. How can you be bad-mouthing me?
Exactly.
So there might be some interesting add-ons to that lawsuit. It'll be interesting. And just for reference, Sazerac produces bourbons including Buffalo Trace, Pappy Van Winkle, Eagle Rare, and Blanton's, all of which have been affected by scarcity, and people have been bottle hunting for, specifically Blanton's. Blanton's has 7 different bottle tops, one with each of the letters of their names. And when you could find it in stores, it was a hunt to find all 7 bottles.
Okay.
So there's always like a little bit of a bottle chase going on there, but then over the last 5 years, the scarcity thing has gotten that bottle chase to be crazy.
Yeah. It's almost like at one time, it's like a game. Let me collect all 7.
Yep.
And now it's just like, okay, well.
Any.
Yeah.
Just look for any. Yeah. Who cares about the name, the letters anymore? So hopefully this will fix it. And this article does point out that its largest product by volume and revenue is Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey, which is also being sued for a different lawsuit.
Yeah.
Because they have 2 Fireball products, one Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey and one Fireball Cinnamon Malt Beverage.
Yeah.
The malt beverage falls under different laws than whiskey, so it can be sold in places like gas station and grocery stores in states that don't allow that. But they're not being clear about their labeling.
Yeah, they're
not labeling it whiskey, but they're not exactly labeling it malt. They're not labeling it whiskey, but they're not exactly labeling it malt beverage either.
Correct. My aspect on that, if I can go to my local grocery store and get something that tastes almost the same as Fireball whiskey, and it's almost the same. Yeah, okay. I know in my head it's not whiskey, but it tastes the same, so I'll buy it. But hopefully get that sorted out and it doesn't turn into anything major, and we just go from there.
So I'll have to edit this into this story, or maybe I'll just tell the story out of order. I'm reading this article as we're talking, and so they terminated on February 1st. After Sazerac notified Republic that it would terminate its relationship effective February 1st, Republic damaged Sazerac's reputation by implementing a sudden unannounced price increase for all Sazerac product, a price increase of upwards of 33% per each SKU. So they raised all the prices for their distributors, so they basically stopped all orders.
Damn.
And then they also revoked discounts that retailers had previously been promised and were funded in part by Sazerac.
That's horrible.
So Sazerac acknowledged that Republic has the discretion to change prices with its retailers, but has taken issue with its revocation of the discounts that were paid for in part by Sazerac. So Sazerac subsidized some purchases to get their product moving.
Yeah.
And then Republic's keeping that money essentially. And they also took other actions that, quote, caused out of stock issues for retailers with Sazerac products, again designed to harm Sazerac's reputation and cause the retailer to stop buying Sazerac product. So this is they're laying out a pretty big case here for some serious lawsuits.
Yeah.
It might be 38 approaching $40 million unpaid invoices, but this is going to be hundreds of millions of dollars in damages.
Yeah.
And hopefully another distributor picks them up. It wouldn't surprise me if Southwestern Glaciers picks them up. And based out of San Antonio.
And Republic needs to pay every single last penny of it. They need to be held responsible 100% for pretty much the BS that they're doing.
Yeah, in summary, Sazerac sums it up pretty good. Not only has RNDC, that's Republic, not only has RNDC stopped its work as a distributor, it has sold product, made a profit, and refused to pay for the underlying goods. So we'll keep following this one. As listeners know, Lewis and I are both sort of into lawsuits and following them because of our line of work. And also because of our line of drinking. This one hits on both niches.
I 100% agree.
Before we tell you about our friends, we'd like to ask you to be our friend too. Life with Dan and Lewis is actively looking for new brands, podcasts, people, and companies to partner with. If you're interested, drop us a note at lifewithdanandlewis@gmail.com.
That's lifewithdanandlewis@gmail.com.
Remote working, remoting. Follow along on a journey of a new job, new facility, new co-workers, and a new normal. Remote working, remoting. Inspired by real life, enhanced by imagination. Follow along at remotingblog.com.
Remoting blog.
Eating gluten and dairy-free can be challenging. GFDF Eating aims to show all the delicious food you can make and buy without sacrificing taste, diversity, or quality. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at GFDF Eating.
That's GFDF Eating.
We'd like to hear from you. After all, we are doing this for your entertainment. Drop us a note and let us know where you're listening from. Or if you have any ideas for new segments, things you'd like us to stop doing, do more of, less of, or anything at all, email us at lifewithdanandlewis@gmail.com.
That's lifewithdanandlewis@gmail.com.
Okay. We ran a little bit long in our first segment today, but we're still going to hit our topics in our second segment today. And today's topics are the gig economy.
Yes.
So I guess to start it off, what is the gig economy? That's the first thing we're going to talk about here. And so basically the gig economy is anyone that does not work a 9-to-5 job with the traditional benefits. This is anyone working for, quote, themselves, doing freelance work, anything from Uber drivers to consultants. So it's estimated that 85.6 million people will be freelancing in the United States by 2027. It means that over half of people by 2027 will be freelancers.
That's interesting because as, times and the years go by, I find that it's more of the whatever generation we are in, or the younger people who are coming about.
Sure. So you have millennials, then you have Gen Z. Okay, so you have millennials, that's me and you, and then you have Gen Z.
Yeah.
And then you have Gen Alpha after that, I think is what we're calling them.
Yes. And so it's just like as they progress and come along, I find that more of them are going to be more accessible to this type of work environment.
I agree.
Simply because is the 9-to-5 sitting behind a desk job pretty much going to be gone away?
Yeah, in a lot of industries it might be. Because the gig economy isn't just the Uber. It's anyone that's doing kind of freelance work, performing a service for multiple clients. And it's also the large contingent of consultants that are providing guidance to clients across multiple industries. Everything from, restaurant to IT to finance. There's a consultant in every industry. And that's a growing field in all industries.
Definitely.
Coupled with independent contractors that do stints for different companies.
Yeah.
So you work here on a project for this month, you work here on the project for this month. You might do multiple projects at one time even.
Yeah.
That all contributes to this gig economy. Temp employees also contribute to the gig economy.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people that work for temp agencies just continually doing temp jobs, whether it be between jobs or, postgraduate or before going back to school. There's lots of different situations in which you might find yourself working for a temp company.
Yeah.
And then the other part of it is seasonal workers, and that may be that you always only work seasonally or that you add an additional gig during certain seasons.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different types of gig economies, and I think it's fascinating that over half of working Americans will be in the gig economy within the next 5 years.
I see it because, people are becoming their own bosses. They love the freedom that they have. And, if they say they want to make $100,000 a year, I mean, they can sign up and they can be able to do that.
Right.
If they want to make 50,000, they can do that as well. It's more of, It's more of a freedom for the person to be like, hey, I'm my own boss, and I can do what I want to do when I want to do it. And if I don't feel like going to work today, if I don't, if I want this gig to last me 3 months, and then after 3 months, I want to take off for a month and do whatever I want to do, it gives them that flexibility.
Exactly.
So there are pros and cons to it, but I mean, is this going to be our new way of doing it, where people just, sign up and just do contract work or freelance work?
A great increase in this. I think there's always going to be regular employees too in many industries. But I think the gig economy is becoming more and more accepted as a lifestyle.
This is already being done, and people just don't. I don't think enough people have really realized it or paid attention to it. And I think that, we're shining some light on it. But I think that in the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be something that's going to be big and major. So, read up on it, look into it, do some research on it. This is something that you're going to find a lot of less people wanting to sit behind a desk and do a 9 to 5 or, their 40 hours work week.
My freelance work, most of it involves sitting behind a desk.
Yeah, but it's not at a company.
Yeah, I've never freelanced where I went to a company. All my freelance work has always been from home.
Yeah.
Or on site, or like on a client site, not at an office. So what do I mean by that? So like some of my freelancing involved like the restaurant and bar industry.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like go to an event and do an event, or I'd go consult at a restaurant or a bar.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be going like to work at a location. So I get what you're saying. Yeah. So I guess those people are falling more into like the temp category.
Yeah.
Or the I guess that's really the only time you go to someone else's office all the time. Most of this work is remote in nature.
Correct.
So I guess there is like a juxtaposition of remote work and gig work. So as gig work's increasing and then remote work because of the pandemic skyrockets, I think that just boosts the gig economy in general.
Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about here is that there's some interesting trends within the gig economy and within the gig workers. So 76% of gig workers would not quit their freelance work for a full-time employed position.
I think because people just love their freedom.
That's exactly what it comes down to. It says often gigs represent what they want to do in their work, and they're much happier than those in traditional employment scenarios.
Correct.
For businesses, there's also some upside, including the increased availability of specifically skilled workers or unskilled workers, depending on what you need. So instead of having one person that can fill both an unskilled or a skilled role, so you're either paying someone down, you have a skill I need, but I don't need that right now. I need an unskilled worker right now. Can you do that? So you're overpaying someone. Well, now you can just pay for exactly what you need. You can get a gig worker to do exactly what you need.
Yeah.
Or consultant, I guess would be another way to say that.
Correct. It's basically, you have a pool of people and you're like, hey, I need this person at this point in time.
Exactly.
Then let me get this person. Okay, well, this is going to be like a 3-month project.
Exactly.
And then and I think people, the reason why this is becoming so successful is because people are allowed to set up their lives based off of a certain thing. So if you get a gig for, say, like 2 months, and in that 2 months, you're going to make $60,000. If you say that, like, hey, I have reached my financial goal for that year and I made 60 grand, then I can just take the rest of the year off, then you have the ability to do so.
Right.
And if you're, more of an overachiever and say like you want to make 200 grand, then you're going to find as many gigs as you can.
Sure.
Or maybe you can find that one because, once again,
it depends. Let's get to the next point. The gig workers are becoming more and more educated and have higher incomes.
Correct.
So yeah, the transportation and asset sharing sector of the gig work, so that's like Uber, Airbnb, that kind of thing, that represents 90% of the gig economy by money volume, by financial volume.
Mm-hmm.
However, 33% of gig workers work in IT.
Yeah.
So when you get down to the actual number of people working, a third of them are in IT. Those aren't cheap jobs.
No.
You're making a lot of money when you're a gig worker in IT in general. The average freelance hourly rate, this is for all industries, is $21 an hour. That's pretty good, especially when you consider how many of those people are Uber, Lyft, DoorDash that are making more in the $10 to $15 an hour range.
Correct.
I mean, there's a lot of people that are making $50 plus an hour
to
bring up that total.
And then again, like we said previously, when certain industries are looking for a certain person to fulfill that role, they can, like say like two companies are looking at one person, and one person, one company A is saying like, hey, I'll pay you $40 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then company B was like, okay, well, I'll match it. I'll pay you $45 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then so the person in the middle, the freelancer or contractor, is able to go back and negotiate, be like, hey, I like your company. I like your business proposition and what you stand for. How about you pick me up to $50 an hour and I'll take your contract?
Right.
And so it's like it gives the individual, the contractor, the freelancer, a little bit more negotiation power.
Right. So the last stat here about money in the freelance world, back in 2018, a survey said that 3.3 million full-time independent workers, that's 21% of the freelance industry, made over $100,000 a year.
Wow.
So there's definitely an increase in both education and compensation going on in the gig world.
Another thing I would like to say, like, when it comes to education and getting certain jobs, like even for people who are don't have a college degree, or, something higher, this is still good because it still allows a certain person that has a certain type of skill or that has worked for a company and allow them to put that on their resume, and then another company see it, and then and sometimes they can overlook it, be like, hey, you know what, you did this for company A.
Oh, just more opportunity.
Yeah, and it creates more opportunity for people educated and not and non-educated, but just have the skill base and the knowledge of being able to get in there and getting the job done.
Agreed. Yeah, so we'll see where gig work ends up. I think it's definitely, like we were saying, here to stay. And the pandemic, if anything, really helped solidify that market for the long term.
I think the pandemic was horrible, but I think as far as livelihood and business aspect, it has allowed people to open up their eyes to see, take their talents and be able to market them across different platforms and different industries have been, picking up people, like some people who've been in the legal field for, 10, 20 years.
Sure.
And then, like with this pandemic, they're just like, okay, well, I don't necessarily have to stay in one particular market. I can just, take the talents and stuff that I have and spread them across the board and then go to like different industries. And, for this certain time period, I'm going to dedicate myself and my talents to this and then go from there. So it's definitely something that has been an eye opener. It's almost like the good that has come out of the bad.
Yeah, agreed.
And
for
so,
sure.
It's definitely something that's it has changed the world, and the world will not be the same as it was before. And it's moving towards something that's bigger and better that we have never seen, that we're experiencing now and will experience more in our future.
Anything coming up for you this week?
Nothing I can put my finger on or think of. I think it's just pretty much going to be a normal week.
Yeah.
Maybe next week when we do the follow-up, I will say if something different popped up, but nothing I can put my finger on.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, kind of just the same week. Hopefully get back to bowling. We skipped a week because of that ice storm we had.
Yeah.
So get back in there, get some bowling done, get some t-shirts handed out there, some more pins knocked down. Other than that, the shelf for my garage that was supposed to arrive next week came in already, so I'm going to get that set up tomorrow.
Nice.
Hopefully that'll be the last little step of organizing the garage. There's a chance I'll have to order another one of the shelves, but we'll see. We'll see how far I get with that one, and hopefully that really helps out.
Nice.
But yeah, nothing really special going on this week. Same old, same old.
All right, that's a wrap for today.
Remember to check out all our social medias. That's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Life with Dan and Lewis. Also on YouTube now at Life with Dan and Lewis.
That's at Life with Dan and Lewis.
We'll be back next week with another episode. Until then, check out our new limited series, The Spotlight with Dan. New episodes will be coming in between our weekly episodes of Life with Dan and Lewis throughout the year.
Definitely something to check out.
Thanks for listening today. More episodes can be found anywhere podcasts are found and on our website at lwdl.buzzsprout.com.
That's lwdl.buzzsprout.com.
Until next time, remember to ask yourself, what have you done today to help someone else? Make good choices.
And love one another.